Hello, you're highly welcome to this tutorial where we are going to build digital agency web app using ReactJS. Now I want to take you on a tour of the application we are about to build so that we know what we will expect in this project we're about to build. Alright, so this is the project. See, this is the project we're about to build. So we have list of partners here, and I can just hover on any of them to stop the scrolling. We have the services section. This is the services section, and take a look at this. Whenever we enter a particular section, the tab will be activated. The tab that corresponds to that section will be activated. See, man, this is awesome. So this is the projects section. So look at the cool transition effect. We're going to be learning how to implement this transition effect you're seeing over here. All right. This is our team section. Yeah, social handles. So this is it. This is the testimonial section. We can move to the next. Can move back, or can move back if we wish, or we can use this bullet point here to toggle. And lastly, not the last, but this is the contact section. Contact us section. Say Emmanuel, AJ, and all of that. So this is we enter the message and all of that. So we can also use this. For example, if I want to send an email, I can as well click on this place to send an email. Okay. So, but I don't want to send an email, so I'll just remove this. I'll just remove this. Okay. And this is the social. Okay. So we can go back to the service part by clicking on that. We can go back to the home. We can go to the about. So we can also click here to go to the contact us section. And guys, also take a look at the go what's it called, scroll to top button over here. So immediately we shift from the top, it will appear, and we can click on it to go back to the top. For example, let's say we are here, let's click on it. See, it takes us back to the top. Also, we can go back to the top by clicking on the logo. See, it takes us back to the top. Now, the next thing I want to show you is how responsive this project is. So let's switch to developer mode and let's test the responsiveness. As you can see, it is very, very responsive. So look at the mobile view of this project. It's responsive. You see it? It's very, very responsive. We can also open our tab. You see, we can go to the services section. We can go to home. We can come to theme. So it is very, very responsive. Can you see this? Very, very responsive. Okay, so this is what we are going to be building in this tutorial. We are going to be taking it step by step. You don't have to be a pro in React in order to follow this tutorial. You will be able to follow this tutorial even if you are just a beginner. In as far as you understand how to make use of JavaScript, you can be able to follow along in this tutorial. So guys, without wasting much time, let's get to the coding part of this project. But before we go there, please, if you have not subscribed to my channel, endeavor to do so now. Encourage me by subscribing to this channel. Click on the subscription button and also remember to like this video and also drop your comment. Doing that will help me a lot. It will encourage me to give me motivation to drop more content like this for you guys. So guys, thank you for doing that. I know that you're already doing that already. So thank you so much. And let's start the coding of this project step by step. So let's start by creating a project. So I'll create a folder here called agency app, and let's open it in our VS Code as a root folder. So here we're going to open a new terminal, and let's go to GitHub. We have a boilerplate for this project already. So this boilerplate will help us save time. So you can download it, or you can copy this link and clone it using git clone. Now that we have successfully cloned it, let's move all the files within our clone folder into our root folder, and let's delete the clone folder. All right, so let's explore these files. First of all is our images folder. So here we have all the images we're going to be making use of. Also, we have this background and the logos. We're going to be making use of that, the partner logos. So now we have index.js here. So within this index.js, we export all the images within our images folder. So now next is our app.js. So next is our index.css. So we just have our CSS variable declarations here, and that is all. And index.js is just a basic setup to render our application. Next is the source.js file. So here we have all the data we're going to be making use of. So we have data for the tabs, we have data for the services, uh, for the partners, for the projects. So all of these are collections of data we're going to be making use of in a different component we're going to be creating. So we have data for social handles, contact info, and all of that. So this is just to make our work easier, to save our time. That is why we have this. Text.md file contains text we can just copy and paste instead of typing it from scratch. One of the reasons why we are using this boilerplate is because we want to preserve the versions of dependencies we make use of in this application. So by this way, uh, this application will not be out of date because you are using the same version of dependencies I make use of. So let's install all the dependencies by using npm install. So this will install all the dependencies. Now the dependencies has been installed and it is saved in our node modules folder. Next, let's run the application using npm start. So as you can see, we just have hello world. And if you check, this is the content of app.js. So that's what we are seeing on our browser. So we are going to create components folder. So inside this folder, we'll create all our components. So let's create the first component called Navbar, and we'll create index.js, and also we'll create navbar.css. So let's come to index.js of Navbar, and we create our component, and we are going to import the CSS file to this. And let's change this to nav, and let's also uh, give it an ID of navbar. And so let's go to app.js and import our navbar. So let's include the navbar here. And let's go back again and create another component called hero. So create index.js, and we also create hero.css. So we create our component and we import hero.css. So let's change this to header, and let's give it an ID of hero, and also let's write hero section here. So let's import our hero into our app.jsx, and let's include it. And let's go back again. Let's create another component, partners. And let's create index.js for partners, and let's say a partners.css. Let's change this to section, and also let's give it an ID of partners. Also, let's include partners.css, and let's come here, import partners, and let's include it here. So let's create the next component called services, and let's create the index.js, and also let's create services.css. So let's create the component, and let's import the services.css, and let's change this to section, and let's give it an ID of services. Also, let's import it here, and let's include it after partners. Here, let's write partners. Also, let's go to services, and let's write services. Now let's create another component called about us. So let's create the index.js for about us and about us.css. Now let's create the component, and let's import about us.css. So let's change this to section, and let's give it an ID of about, and let's write about us here. So now let's go back to app.js and import about us, and let's include it here. And let's go again. Let's create another component, projects, and we'll create index.js for it, and also projects.css. And let's create our project component. Let's import projects.css. And let's change this to section again. Let's give it an ID of projects, and let's write projects here. So let's go to app.js. Let's import it here, and let's add it after about. Next, let's create another component called themes, and let's create index.js for it and themes.css. So let's create a component, and let's import themes.css. Let's change the section, and let's give it ID called themes. And let's write themes here. Now let's import it in our have the JSS, and let's add it right after projects. Now we're going to create another component called testimonials. Okay, so let's create testimonials.css and let's create a component and we import the CSS file. It's just as simple as that. We are creating this component now so that later on we take it one after the other and write code for each of them. So let's give it an ID of testimonials. Let's write testimonials here and let's import it and add it. It's just as simple as ABCD. And next component, let's create contact. So let's create the index.jss. Okay, let's create the component. So if you observe very well, while I'm creating each of these components, the ID I'm using is the same ID we have in our tabs from the source folder. There's a reason for this. The reason is we want our React scroll to function properly. That's why we are using the same ID with the ID we have in the tabs. So as time goes on, you understand what I'm trying to say right now. So let's create the last component, which is footer. Let's create footer. Then footer.css. Let's create the component and let's import our footer.css. So let's change this to section. Let's give it an ID of footer. But instead of using section, let's make use of footer. And let's import it here. And let's include it right after contact. So we are done creating all the components. So let's take a look at it. So this is how it currently looks like. So we'll be taking them one after the other. So let's first of all, before we start writing code for each of the components, let's write our general styling in here in our index.css. The CSS code we're going to write here are called general styling, which means we can reuse it in a different component that we have created. So the code we write here, we make use of it in our components. We don't need to rewrite it in our components. So let's say font family we're using here is sans serif. So the body is actually going to have text color. By default, it's white. The text color is white because we're using dark background. And let's add a background image. So there is an image in our images folder, which is this background.png. We're going to use it as the background image of the body. So let's link to it. So let's specify the background size. So we use 100%, 100%, and the background repeat is no repeat. The attachment will be fixed. We don't want it to scroll. That's why we are using fixed as the background attachment. If you have watched this tutorial to this extent, it means you are really enjoying it. I don't know if you have subscribed, but if you have not done so, why not subscribe for more content? Subscribe to my channel and you will have access to content like this. You know,
one thing about coding is the more you practice, the more you master it. The more you get your hand dirty practicing, the more you master it. So in this channel, I bring to you projects that you can try out, professional projects, not just anyhow projects. So subscribe to the channel and have access to these projects. Also make sure you like this video and also drop your comments so that YouTube will start recommending this video to others. There are many people that this kind of video will help them a lot to be able to uh, come to a particular point in their careers. So please, I beg you with the name of God, subscribe to the channel. Just click on that subscription button and also like the video. Thank you so much for doing that. Thank you. Thank you guys. I appreciate. I sincerely appreciate. So our H2, H3, and H4, all of them will have a font weight of 500. So the BTN, let's style it. Border reduce, out reduce 1. Okay, let's use 2. So you see here we declare variables and we're now making use of the variables in our code. So you see it is very, very important that when writing CSS code, you make use of variables. The reason for that is because, for example, now you see, let's say in each component, I am writing a background color for each component. Let's say in the first component, I write black, second component, I'm using one background color. And later on, let's say I change my mind, it means I have to go throughout the whole component and change the background color. But if we are using variables and we assign that background color to a particular variable, when I change my mind and I want to change the background color, all I need to do is just change the value of the variable and the changes will take effect everywhere I use that variable. So text method, any text we want to move to, we just use this class on it. Color primary, so any text we want to give a color primary, we just use this class on it. So the main title, let's write code for it. Margin, margin top and bottom should be 20 pixel. Text align should be center. Now our subtitle, the font size should be 25 pixel. Next, our icon container, width 2.5 rem. Aspect ratio should be 1 divided by 1. Also justify content to center. Border radius should be radius 5, which will make it cycle. Transition, we have transition. Color should be white. Color method, I mean to say, sorry. Now, when we hover over the icon container, what should happen? So we scale it. Let's change the color to color white. So let's write some media query code, that is code that will make our application responsive. So if the weight is less than 900, the code we're writing within this curly brace will be executed. Now, if the width is less than 600 pixels, then code here we're writing should execute. So font size. Let's reduce it to 25 pixel. Now the subtitle, let's reduce the font size to 17 pixel. And that is all we have to write within our index.css. So this is how it looks like currently. So let's go back and let's close this file and let's go to Navbar. So we are going to start writing code for Navbar. First of all, let's create logo container and let's import the logo, the icon we're going to be using as logo from React icon. So I logo put for. So let's add it here. Logo buffer. Let's give it a class name of icon and let's create h2. Let's use h1. Let's give it a class name of name and let's use span dot gradient text. Now let's complete the name here and let's eliminate this place. So in here, let's create a hamburger and let's create tab container. And what we will do now, let's import our tabs from source. So we import it. Let's take a look at the tab. So these are the tabs data and the ID is the same with the ID I gave my components. Understand? So let's look through the tabs. Let's see list index and let's import link from React scroll. So we are going to be using this link instead of a traditional anchor tag. So let's output the name. Let's give it a key of index so that React will be able to identify it, each of it. So let's use tab. Give it a class name of tab item. Now two. So this two is when the user clicks on it, which ID is it going to locate? All right. So whatever be the ID, it will locate it. If the ID is contact, it will go to contact. If it is team, it will go to teams. If it is testimonials, it will go to testimonials. Okay, smooth. Make sure you add that this smooth. Then the active class, let's say active. So when it is active, we use this class called active. All right. So next, let's open the CSS and let's write the styling. Then 14 pixel at the top and bottom, 20 pixel at left and right. So position it as sticky so that it will not scroll out of the viewport. So top 0. We also give it Z index of 200 so that it will always be at the top of every other element. So this navbar has the highest Z index in our project. So no other element is going to have a Z index of 200 except our back to top button, which we're going to create later. So the logo container font size should be 35 pixel. And let's specifically select the name and let's change the font size to just 30 pixels. The reason is because we want it to be smaller than the icon. display flex. So all the tabs within tab group should be displayed flex so that it will display side by side, that is horizontally, not vertically. So our tab item, position it as relative. The padding top and bottom is 10 pixel, left and right is 20 pixel. Let's give it front weight of 600 and a cursor of pointer so that when you hover your cursor over it, it will become a hand. So let's create after. So that is, we're trying to create the active indicator, that line that appears under a tab when we scroll to a component that is attached to that tab. So that's what we're creating right now. Border radius should be 51 pixel. Animation, we'll give it drawer. So let's create the animation using keyframe. So drawer. So at 0%, we want the width to be 0. And at 100%, let's just duplicate and say 100%. We want the width to be 100%. So this is just a cool animation. So this is how it looks currently. As you can see, most of the code we wrote, like the active code we wrote, we will not see it into play right now because we literally need to create other components. So here, let's create buttons container. So we're going to create our contact button here. So let's say contact us. Now let's use to. So here we're going to provide the ID we want it to scroll to when the user clicks on it. And remember to specify smooth through. This will cause it to use smooth scroll. So let's also add a menu icon. So this menu icon, we're only going to display it on mobile, but on desktop, we're going to hide it. So let's import FA bars from React icons. All right, so let's go back to our navbar.css. Here, let's write code for our buttons container. Let's display it flex, align the items to center, give it a gap of 20 pixel. So menu font size should be 25 pixel. And let's display it none so that it will not show on desktop. So here we're going to create a close button. Also, we're not going to show this close button on desktop. We are only going to show it on mobile. So let's write code for the close button. Let's say position absolute top, let's say 20 pixel. Right should also be 20 pixel. And in there should be 2. And most okay, cursor pointer. And most importantly, let's hide it by using display none. So next, let's write the media query code. So at 900, we are going to select our hamburger and we're going to convert it, instead of it appearing the way it appears on desktop, we're going to hide it and we're only going to show it when the menu button is being clicked. overflow hidden. Let's select the tab group. We need to change the flex direction to column so that it will align vertically, not horizontally anymore. So align the item stretch so that it will be 100%, the items with 100%. So here, let's create a state. Let's say view sidebar and state view sidebar. So view state will be false, and we are going to add on click to our close btn. So when we click on close button, we are going to uh, use the opposite of view sidebar. So if sidebar is true, view sidebar, if it is true, it will not be false. If it is false, it will not be true. So we're going to use view sidebar here. If it is true, I'm going to add visible to hamburger. If not, we'll not add any class. So let's add the icon, that is close icon. And let's copy this and also paste it on our link. Well, here we strictly say first. And let's come over here and paste it also. That is on the menu. So let's write CSS code that we, number one, show that sidebar, and number two, that we review our menu button and close button. So display block. Then next is our close button. Let's display it flex. And this is the code. So let's take a look at how it looks like. So I'll switch to responsive mode. There's a problem here. There's a problem there. This is not supposed to be this way. Let's go back and let's copy this media query and paste it here. And let's say 400 pixel. Let's select our button container and we'll hide the contacts. Or there's something wrong. So okay. Buttons, not just button. Buttons. Okay, that's still a problem. That's still a problem. So let's go back to the code. Also, okay, here there is also buttons. Correct. But then this drop down is not right. So okay, let's add left 0 here. And boom. Correct. So we've been able to get what we want for the navbar, and we're done with this. Also, let's close this one and let's go to 0. So let's delete and let's say container and title for the agency. So let's expand out gradient text, digital agency, featuring robust designs. Now the description now. First, let's import FA quotes left and FA quotes right. So let's add them here. So give it a class name, quotes icon. So the other one is top, then this one will be bottom. And here let's say p dot text method. So let's go to text.md. Let's copy this text and paste. And I will just break it because it's too long. So button btn container. Let's import the link. So let's say link laptop. Look, it's contact us. Let's say contact us and contact. Also smooth to class name. Let's say btn primary. So services, our services. Okay. So let's create overlay here and let's begin to style it. So here we select our hero using hash because it is an ID. So let's just copy, paste, and edit. Top should be 0, left 0, width and height will be 100%. Split plus line item should be center, and flex direction should be column. So we're just making sure that the hero section is well styled and looking good. Margin top 20 pixel. The span. So we want this guy to have a higher font size. So the description. Line height should be 25 pixel. Color white. Accent. The border reduce 4. Position should be relative. Exactly depth should be 1. The background should be BG color 1. And let's select the quote icon. And let's style it now. So the top part of the quote icon. Now the bottom part, I just add a button. Bottom should be 10 pixel, while right should also be 10 pixel. Notify contents, center. So let's use media query to position things very well when the screen size gets smaller. And let's edit. So 600. So the container, let's change the padding top. And secondly, we are going to change something in the intro title. So the intro title span, we also change the font size to 35 pixels. Let's see it. So you see what we have here. This is what we have, and it is responsive. It's responsive, but then our titles are not to the center, even our text is not to the center. So let's solve this problem. Let's go to our container and say text align center. And this is it. So our text is aligned exactly to the center. This is how it looks like. That's all. So now let's create a new component called facts. So let's create index.js for facts and also facts.css. So let's create fact component and import the CSS file. Okay, so let's import facts within our hero and let's include it before the closing header tag. And let's close this. So let's say class name fact container. And let's create fact item. Name title here. Years of experience. So let's duplicate this fact item. Let's duplicate it 2 more times. And let's edit their values. This one, let's say, okay, T plus, and let's say trusted client. We are done with the markup, so let's write the CSS code here. Fact container, we are going to display it flash, specify the content to center. So we are just going to make it blur. The background of our fact container should be very blur. So let's try the fourth item. So we'll align every text to center, and let's write the responsive code for our fat container. Individual. The fact item now, main title, we have to reduce the size, and also we have to reduce the size of our text method. Let's take a look at how it looks like. So this is how it currently looks like, and you can see it looks so nice. Let's check the responsiveness. You see it's responsive, and let's now go to partners. So here in partners, let's create let's first of all import our partners from the source. So here we have our partners here. Look at them. So we have already imported the images from image folder, images folder, and we have linked everything. So let's just make use of it here. Let's first of all create a container and logos together. So logos slide. Let's look our partners here. So img src, let's say partner logo. The out should be partner dot name, and the key so the index. So let's write the styling for this. So let's select partners, and next let's select our logos. White space, no wrap, and before and also after, we want to add some kind of shadow on the left and right of our logos container. That's why we are writing this current code. All right, so let's position the before to left 0, and background, let's use linear gradient, and let's also do for after. So let's just copy this and paste, and when we hover over logos, when we hover over logos slide, any animation that is playing on it, we want to pause it. So though we have not created the animation yet, but we want to create animation soon. So, but let's finish uh, styling this for now. So let's say animation will be here, slide, that's the name of the animation, infinite linear, so that it can play infinitely. So from translate x 0 to translate s minus 100, let's say minus 100%. All right, let's keep on. So our image, object field should be contained, and filter use grayscale. So we also want to support older browsers, different browsers. So we're going to be writing different filter code. So WebKit filter. So this is specifically for WebKit. So this is for Internet Explorer 6 to 9, and this is for old WebKit. So we're just making sure that we support different browsers. So let's write our responsive code. Height 20 pixel. So let's take a look at it. Not even showing. Let's refresh. Something is wrong somewhere. So let's go to index.css and let's change this to minimum height instead. Okay, as you can see, it's showing right now. And let's change this to 50 pixel. So it's working, but we have a problem when the scroll finishes. We have space left by the right side, and we don't want that. As you can see the space. So to prevent this, let's go back and let's copy this logo and duplicate logo slide. So by this, we'll have more than enough, which means it will not finish. It will always be scrolling as if it did not finish. So we are done with that. So let's come to services and let's create container. Our main title will be our text, then services, subtitle. Let's check if we have a text concerning this here. There's no text. All right, digital creative BT. So services container, let's import our services from source. So within source, we have services. So this is our services over here. So let's loop through it. Let's map it. Service index. So let's create a component called service card. So service card. Let's create index.js for it. So the reason why we use .js is uh, because we want to have code suggestions. If you use .js, you will not see any code suggestion. So let's also create service card.css. And let's import our service card here. So let's use it here. So let's specify the props we're expecting. So icon, name, the description. So here let's pass in the icon. I think service icon, the name, service.name, the description, service or description, and also let's pass in the key so that it will be distinct. Okay, so let's give it a class name here called service card. And let's see icon container, the icon. Text muted detail description. We output the description. So let's write the CSS code for our service card. First, we give it a background color. Give it a padding of 20 pixels. The border radius of it is 3. So transparent, transition, bar transition. So here we're going to change the border color to color primary. And the background, we make it transparent. So the icon container font size should be 45 pixels. We'll scale it to 1.2. Service card, repeat the description. Let's give it a font size of 14 pixels, line height of 21 pixels. So let's style the services itself. Give it a background color 1. And the services container, display it as grid. So we use grid template columns. We repeat 4, 1FR. So 4 columns, each occupying one fraction of the container. Two. And when it comes to 400, we'll make it just 100% is fine. 100%. So let's see how it looks like. Let's go see how it looks like now. Something is wrong somewhere. Something is really, really wrong. So let's go back to our code and let's come to here. So what is wrong? Okay. Let's wrap this let's call it services stuff. Let's wrap it within services stuff. And this, let's move it into container. It's not located inside a container. Okay, it's better now, but our main title is still having issue. What could be the problem? Let's come back. Main title. Um, it's instead of H1 we wrote H. I wrote H. Sorry for that. So this is it. So let's check how responsive it is. So you see it is responsive and it displays very well on mobile. Now the about us section, we basically have two of this info container and media container. So in this info container, let's write the informations we want to display. Let's wrap it within gradient text. Transmitted. Let's copy this and paste it in. And let's break the text because it is too long. Buttons container. So let's import link from React scroll and let's use the link here. Let's talk to contact. So when somebody clicks on this, it will scroll to contacts section. So within here, we are going to see picture container and we'll use img image inside. So let's import the image we're going to be adding to that. So import robot. Okay. So we make use of this robot here. So let's just use this as the alt. So main container possible and write minds within here. So I think we are pretty much done with this. And let's write the CSS code. We select our about. About 40 pixel. Our info container should be weight 100%. Max weight should be 600 pixel. So our main title and our subtitle and also the description, we need to align them to the left. The text should go left. So 20 pixel. So let's start the picture. Max weight should be 400 pixel. Overflow should be hidden. And border radius should be radius 2 will be fine. Let's position it as absolute. Cell index should be 1. Menu gradient to bottom. Okay. Let's say main title with say font size 35 pixel. Also the sub okay, let's just write this media query code. So we select the container, we'll change the place direction to colon. So let's just copy this and let's paste it here. So we're going to align everything to center this time. So we are done with this. Let's see how it looks like. So this is how it looks like. And well, there's something that needs to be done on this picture container. So what we'll do, let's change this to top, top, and let's duplicate it, and let's change this to before, and change it to bottom, and let's shake it again. Yeah, so this is how it will look like. Let's check how responsive it is. You see, it is very responsive. Guys, let's close it and let's go to projects. So let's start creating the project. First, let's remove this and let's create a container, and use h1 and create main title, and use the projects build, and let's use subtitle down here. Our team of engineers. Let's create what we call project navigation. Let's create the index.js. So we're going to be using this project navigation to navigate to our project. So let's import the CSS file. And let's pass in the props we expect tabs and unchanged. So we'll be using unchanged to pass in the selected tab. So let's import our project navigation here, and let's add it over here. So we're going to pass the tab, and we're going to pass the unchanged tabs and unchanged. So first, let's import our project from source. So here is our projects. So you can just open it and take a look at it. So import projects from the source. So before we can pass the tabs, we need to take in the different categories we have in our project and uh, get unique names of the categories and convert it to tabs. That's what this function I'm creating right now called get tabs is going to do. It's going to get the unique names of the categories we have in our project and convert it to tabs. All right, so pushing to tabs, then we're going to return tabs. And let's call our get tabs here. Okay, next, let's create a state. Let's call it active projects and state active projects. So we're going to say use state the projects. All right. So let's say state projects. Let's just say state pro. This value is going to be passed to this state project through our unchanged. So if the value is equal to all, we will just return the project X. If it is not equal to all, we are going to just get those project that has the category that is the same with the value that was supplied. Understand? So that's what will be sitting as the active project. So let's part set pro here. And let's come back to our project navigation. So let's write some codes here. So let's call it project navigation. And let's say we'll map through the tabs. Let's say name, index, we'll use button here. Let's say let's call it active and say set active, or we say all by default. So let's use effect and we'll pass this and change, we'll pass the active. Also, let's pass the active and dependency. And let's come over here on click. We're going to set the active to the value of name currently clicked. So let's write the CSS code for just navigation. Margin button 30 pixel. The button, let's style it. Position should be relative. Display should be block. And let's say font width 500. Let's say color white. And the background, let's make it transparent. The transition, let's add transition. So when it is active, we're going to say the color should be color primary. So let's add here, if active is equal to the name, it is only equal to the name, then we'll add active, a class called active x, we add nothing. So at max width 600 pixel, the font size of the button, let's say 14 pixel. And this is what we have. Let's continue writing our code. So okay, let's give space so that that space will be eliminated. And I think, well, let's map to, let's first of all create projects container, and we're going to map to our active project here. That's so let's create project card. Let's create index.js for it, and also project.css. Now let's create a component, and let's link our CSS project dot project card.css, and let's import our project card here. So let's add it over here. So let's add a key of index, and whatever is a project, we'll just destructure it here. So it automatically will be passed to the project card. Okay, let's keep on writing our code. Let's just go back and keep on writing the code. So what we'll do now is let's close this and come to our project card. Let's write some code here. So let's give it a class name. So let's add a class name prop. So first of all, let's say project card, and again, if the class name is supply, we're going to add a class name. Let's add our image here, the project image. Text method dot description. Add a description here. But first of all, let's grab the description from the props. And which ref will be URL. The target will be blank so that it will open in a new tab, not on the current tab. So let's write our CSS code project card. Give it a background for the color one. Let's use radius 4 for this. Gray border. And we're going to say transition. Let's just give it the transition. that color, let's say color primary, and when it's being hovered on, we're going to say the border should be gray border. So the image container, height should be 230 pixel, overflow should be hidden. Margin should be 20 pixel, 0 pixel. If you are still watching up to this extent, well, I would like to congratulate you. It's a sign of action, it's a sign of having a zeal for coding. So I congratulate you. It's not easy. So on 0, we scale it to 0.5. On 100%, we scale it to 1. And let's write the CSS code for our projects. Grab 2.5 rem. So let's write the responsive code here. So at 1000 pixel, to select the project container, and we use breed template columns to be repeat to 1 fr. The gap now should be just 1.2 rem. At 600 should just be 100%, and the gap should be 1 rem. So let's refresh and see how it looks like. So this is how it looks like. See? So what is remaining here now is to animate this, to add the animation. So if we just go straight and add the zoom in animation we created, it's not going to work. So we need to go another way around by creating this load state. So let's set it to false. Now let's use effect, and we're going to pass the projects, the active projects. And here we're going to use set timeout. Let's first of all say set load, let's say true, then set timeout. So the millisecond we're using is 600 millisecond. It's the same with what we use in our CSS zoom in CSS animation. So let's add class here. So we're going to say if load, then we're going to add the zoom in class x nothing. So this will animate this card perfectly fine. So let's check it. So let me click. You see it animated. See it's animated. So this is how we do it. If we just, assuming we went straight and add the zoom in animation, it's not going to function properly. So this is having an issue. So let's just copy the project. Let's copy the project ID and just add it to the here and here. So let's check it. So it's now responsive. All right. So we are done with this section. Let's close all these files, and now let's go to the themes section. So in here, create container, main title, the description. So let's copy this text and we're going to paste it here. Let me break it, too long. Okay, so that's a theme container. So here, let's import themes from source. So in our source file, we have themes. These are the themes. So we're going to loop through themes using map. So let's create a new component called theme card. We're creating this component within themes. So let's create the index.js file, and also let's create theme.css. So let's create a component, and we're going to import our CSS code. So here, let's add it, and let's destructure the theme here and pass in the key. So now let's go to the theme card and write some code. First of all, let's pass in the props we're expecting. Let's destructure it here. So class name, theme card, profile container, and we add our image within it, profile, name. So our details showcase the name here and also the title. So let's say social container, and we'll map to our social here. So let's give it a class name or icon container. And here, let's pass in the icon, social icon. So let's copy this and write the styling. So let's put background to BG color 2. The max weight should be 200 pixel. So the radius should be 3. So the profile container, we are going to say that it should have a height of 150 pixel and overflow should be hidden. At the border radius, I'm going to give it radius 3. That will be fine. So the theme card, continue. So let's scale it 1.1. And when is the okay? So let's start the name, and we're going to say margin. All right. font size. So the details right now, the social container will be with a padding of 15 pixel, 20 pixel, left and right. Display flex, line item center to justify the content to space between. And we are going to write. So this is the responsive code. Uh, let's write the code for Teams itself. Uh, let's write the code for Teams. So let's give it a background uh, one here, and let's select the container, then description, margin. So, so the team container, we're going to display its flex. Let's say grid, and let's say grid template colon, and repeat for one FR. So let's say justify content should be space between, the gap should be 20 pixels, and overflow should be hidden. And teams team container. So let's take a look at how it looks like. Let's go to bottom part. So this is how it looks like. This is it. Let's see how responsive it is. See, it is responsive. So next, let's close all of this, and let's go to the testimonial section. So here, let's create a container. See which one main title, evidence text, testimonials. So the subtitle, clients. Says, yeah. So let's swipe up slide. Let's also import pagination from swiper models. Let's import swiper CSS. So let's also import the CSS for the pagination. And let's make use of swiper here. I'm going to make use of it to scroll our testimonials. So with the class name of testimonial container. No, let's add a module. Is it prop? Let's add it here. Say pagination, and let's space between, let's say 40. Let's say resolution, clickable. Let's make it true so that we can use the relation to navigate through our testimonial by clicking it. So from 700 upward, it should be the slide pathway should be 2, but anything less than 700 should be 1. And let's import our testimonies. So this is our testimonies. So we have imported it. Let's map it. Let's map through it and upload it one after the other. We use a swipe slide, passing the key. Let's pass in the image. Say profile. Pass in the name. So let's pass in a name here. And let's create content here. So let's do content. Okay, let's write our CSS code for this component. So let's give it color 1, and let's select the testimonial container. Going to give it padding bottom of 60 pixel, margin top 60 pixel, and let's say testimonial container, a testimonial card. Let's give it a background, BG color 3. Reduce 4. Gray border. Then the border color, let's say transparent. The transition should just be transition. And width here should be 3 aspect ratio 1 divided by 1. So border radius should be radius 5, so that it will be a cycle. Margin bottom should be 30 pixel. The name, margin bottom should be 20 pixel here. The font size should be 16 pixel. So let's change the background of the bullet point of our swiper. I change it to color primary. Let's see how it looks like. This is it. And see, we can change it, can scroll it. Let's see how responsive it is. So you see it is responsive. in mobile, it's the only one that is displaying at a time. So let's close it and let's go to contacts. So let's just code contacts. So it's container. So let's create form container. So let's use form tag for this. So form container. Let's clean it and let's create let's see contact options. So let's work on contact form first before we come to contact option. Let's gradient text. Let's create contact top and place this code we're written within it. Let's place it here. Okay. And let's see the text method. Let's copy this nothing here because just let's write it. It's not much. So it is as simple as that. So let's create contact form middle. And here we are going to create a row. Here we create the input, our input. We're going to give it a placeholder and a name. Placeholder and a name. And let's give it a class name of control. And let's duplicate and edit. This one will be a last name. So last name. And let's duplicate this row. Let's change this to email address. So email. Last one, let's say tell. And let's say phone number. Change this to phone. Here, let's see text area here, message. Let's give it a placeholder, message. And let's give it a class name of control. And let's say contact form button. So in here, we're going to create a button, primary. This is send now. And contact options. Let's import our contact options from source.js. So here is our contact options. So we're going to import it. So let's map it. Let's map to it. Um, say option and key index icon container. Passing the icon. Also the name, folder name, and the address, folder address, and lastly the button. So target will be blank. btn primary. So I think we are done here. Let's create, let's style it. BG color 1. Let's style the contact container. Display flex. Gap should be 30 pixels. Then the contact form, let's style it. So background should be linear gradient to bottom right. Border let's use radius 3. Let's say width 100%. Then max width should be, let's say max width 500 pixel. Font size 40 pixel. Text align left. Display flex. Identify contention space between. Padding 20 pixel top and bottom. Okay, let's just say 20 pixel, and background should be border radius 3. Let's use this radius 2 to find for this. Let's color. All right, guys. Overflow, heating, transition. We'll give it our transition. As you can see, each time we want to add transition to an element, we use our transition variable. See, this is the benefit of having a variable. Now, if we want to change the rules of transition, it will be easier for us. We will just go to index.css and change the rules there, and it will affect everywhere we have used it. So that is the benefit of using variables. Uh, Border, that's a gray border. Now, let's say resize no. This is actually transition transform. The bottom part is display it as flash. Margin top is 30 pixel. So our contact options +1 will display it as flex, and flex direction should be colon. Option. What are we using? It should be radius 2. Okay, radius 3. Let's use this 3. All right. So the border should be gray border, and transition should be transition. Padding, let's use the 1.2 rem. Let's align should be center, and let's say when hover on, we are going to scale it to 0.98. So border color, we say color primary. And let's copy this. Let's copy it. Let's change this one to 2 and change this one to 1. So we would ORM as font size should be 5 pixel. For that radius, let's say reduce 5 so that it will recycle. I'm talking about icon container here. Font weight 600. Let's give it a margin top and bottom 10 pixel, left and right should be 0 pixel, and the font size should be 15 pixel. Font weight should be 400. Big change margin top should be 20 pixel. Uh, Next, let's write our responsive code. Responsive. So we're going to display container here. We're going to say flex direction should be colon here, and line item should be spread. Mark weight should be 100% here so that it will occupy 100% of this the weight, the screen. Let's take a look at how this looks on the browser. Let's go down. This is what we have. This is what we have. Awesome, awesome, awesome. You see, it is responsive, very, very responsive. So let's close this and let's go to footer. So here, let's create container and let's create social handles container. And let's import our social handles. So these are social handles inside our source file. So let's map our social handles and I'll put them one after the other. So this is the link. Target will be blank. And icon container. Social handle. So will give us this key so that it will be unique. So list the icon. So here down here, let's create tabs container. So we're going to look through our tabs. So let's just copy this and paste here. So let's import tabs. So come here and say tabs. And let's also copy this line of code from our navbar. Let's close it. So here we're going to add article for copyright. Let's call it copyright container. And here let's add address. So let me just type in my address here. Warren Park, Abuja, Nigeria. And let's go to the next line. Copyright. Okay, copy. All right, preserve 2024. The text muted. So for Built with Love by Emmanuel Eze Adinuba, aka Mr. Adinuba. So uh, let's create a scroll to top button here. So let's import this icon, arrow up from React icon. So we're going to make use of it inside our scroll to top button. So let's go to let's give it a class name of let's say btn for now, btn primary. So let's go to, okay, let's give it also scroll to top btn. So let's write some style here. Let's write some style. Okay, so let's select the scroll scroll top btn. So right should be 20 pixel. Adding 0. Width should be 3 rem. Aspect ratio is 1/1. Border radius is radius 5. And font size should be 18 pixel. Transition, this is transition. So let's add show button animation. So we're going to create this animation soon. But let's finish here, and then we can create it. So reverse, and let's say when scroll top button is hovered, let's change the background color, and also let's say scroll top button when it is visible, because we're going to be hiding it. So now let's create the animation from and to. So from bottom minus 100%, bottom 0 here. Let's say 20 pixel. And here, let's create something that will help us dictate uh, if the user has scrolled the app up. For example, if the user is no longer at the top, if the user has scrolled, then we will show the scroll top btn. So, but if the user has not scrolled, there's no need to show it. All right. So this function I'm creating right now will help us do that. So let's create this scroll y. So if current position is greater than 50, I'm going to return set visible true x, set visible false. So let's use effect to add this to Windows events. Add events listener scroll, and we'll say scroll handler, and let's remove it, return. So let's remove this event. So now let's come over here. So if visible, we will add visible to here. else will happen and nothing. So let's import animation scroll as scroll. So I want a situation where if this button is being clicked, we will scroll to the top. So let's say scroll dot scroll to top. All right. So uh, what is this? Okay, use state is not defined. So all right. It's showing somewhere. Okay. Okay. Sorry, this thing is not supposed to be here. So let's delete it. Tabs is not defined. What do you mean by that? Okay, it's defined. So okay, let's check. Let's go. You see, it appears when I scroll up. It appears, and when I click on it, it will take me to the top. So it takes me to the top. So now I'm going to also copy this and go to Navbar and place it here because I will use it on the logo. So I will just copy this and paste on our logo here so that when I click on the logo, it will take me to the top. So when I click on logo, it takes me to the top. All right. So let's style the remaining parts of the footer. So we style the social handles container. Let's say justify content center, align item center, and let's say gap PPS margin 40 width 1 3 rem and tabs container split flex align item should be center, justify content should be center also, gap should be 20 pixel. Well, so let's see here, tab item, and we'll give it a transition cursor pointer. So when tab item is being hovered on, let's change the color. And next, let's style the copyright container. So we say margin top should be 50 pixels, then display should be flex, and we say flex direction should be our column. This line should be centered, and let's say address, and font size 16 pixel, font weight 500, color should be color primary, and let's write the responsive code media query. So at 768, we are going to uh, use say this tab container. We need to change it to column, the flex direction to column. So let's take a look at this, how it looks like right now. So you see how it looks like. Wow. So this is awesome, guys. This is beautiful. If you watch this video to this extent, uh, I'd like to congratulate you, man. So this is it.
and it is very, very responsive. If you click on any tab, it will take us to the tab we clicked on. And this is awesome, awesome. This is nice. This is very, very nice. So let's inspect responsiveness. Guys, look at it. It's very, very responsive. Very, very responsive, guys. Guys, if you have not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to this channel for more content like this. Subscribe now, and also drop your comment. Drop your comment. Tell me what you think about this project on the comment section. Drop your comment now on the comment section. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. God bless.